Hello all, I'm Matthew and I'm the Programme Leader at Newcastle College. So for today's session, carrying on with our remote practical sessions, I'm going to make a traditional English dessert. I'm going to make sticky toffee pudding, or sometimes called sticky date pudding. Okay, some places refer it to sticky date pudding, and that comes from the dates that I use, so it tends to be dried dates. These are boiled together with some water, a little bit of bicarb just to break them down. And what I've done is in advance I've made a puree using water, a little bit of bicarb and some dates, okay? And that's what you get. I've blended it, made it into a puree. A little bit different to a traditional date pudding, sticky toffee pudding. I'm going to use a little bit of beef suet. It adds a little bit more flavour, a little bit more texture. The only trouble is obviously it's not suitable now for vegetarians. So what I'm going to do to start off is I'm going to mix together my sugars. So I've got dark brown sugar and light brown sugar, okay? Then I'm going to go into a bowl. To them I'm going to add suet. I'm going to add my egg. And then with a spatula, just going to mix all of them and combine that together. The consistency you're looking for here is, it'll look like if you've ever made traditional mince pie filling. I don't mean a savoury mince pie, I mean what you'd have at Christmas time. Traditional recipe for sticky toffee pudding is using, sugar and butter. You cream that together. You would add your date puree, folding that in, and then you would add your flour, self-raising flour, folding that in as well. Okay, so just make sure you break down any lumps of sugar, and that's what we're looking for there. Set that to one side. What I've got here is self-raising flour and a little bit of baking powder as well, just to help our sponge rise, because it's quite a heavy sponge due to the date puree. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add about half of my date puree, folding that in. Then I'm going to add my flour and my baking powder. Same again. Okay, just folding that in. Okay, so I'm using a figure of eight, around and cutting through, around, cutting through. Once that's all incorporated, you will get what resembles traditional cake batter, but obviously because of the sugar, the puree, it's darker in colour. Now I'm going to add the remainder of my date puree. So other traditional English puddings, you've got jam roly-poly, spotted dick, cabernet pudding, and as part of your task to go along with this, I'll get you to research, do a little bit of history around sticky toffee pudding. Can you tell me its origins? Same with, I'll get you to do some research on some traditional English puddings, hot and cold. So that's all combined now, and that's what I'm looking for. So check your consistency, it should just fall from the spoon. Once you've got that consistency, The next part is to get your pudding basins lined. Okay, so what I've done is I've just pre-cut a little bit of parchment to sit on the bottom. Just going to take it out, and I'm going to use a little bit of softened butter just to grease these. You can melt it, but I'm just going to quickly brush around up the sides. That's one done. Another one. Set that on one side. Parchment back in. That's just to help when we turn out our puddings. So they're grease smell. Then your mixture, you just want to fill it about 3/4 of the way up. These are going to expand. Don't want to absolutely brim your pudding basins. You don't have to use pudding basins as this. You could use a cake tin. It would just take a little bit longer for the cooking. You can make a large one. You know, you could use a loaf tin as well. Anything that's suitable to go in the oven is fine to do in this. You know, you can do a tray bake one. Obviously, it's not going to take as long to cook, because it might be thinner. And you should get around about 4 pudding basins out of that mixture. Little gentle tap. Any bits that's around the side, just scrape it away so it bakes and cooks evenly. Okay. Next thing I'll do is I'm going to pause the video there, and my next step will be to top them and line them, and then I'm going to bake them 180 degrees for about 20-25 minutes. While that's happening, I'll make my sauce. Okay? Okay, chef, so my puddings are in the oven. I've covered them with tin foil. They're going to bake for around 20-25 minutes, 180 degrees. While they're baking, I'm going to make my sauce. Okay, so I've got 125 grams of butter. Got 62 grams of dark brown sugar, 62 grams of light brown sugar, and 125 ml of double cream. This is nice, easy sauce to make. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the stove. I'm going to stir it constantly. I'm going to bring it to a boil and then simmer it until it thickens and emulsifies together. Okay. Okay, chef, so that's my sauce in the pan. So that's the sugar, the butter, and the double cream. I brought that to the boil, and then I'm just going to let that simmer for 5 minutes. Keep stirring it. Obviously, it is sugar. And what I'm going to do is, when that's ready and finished, I'm going to add a pinch of sea salt. The sea salt will just improve the flavour, believe it or not. Obviously, if you add too much, it's going to kill it. But just a little pinch, and it just improves the flavour. It really does bring it out. Adds a little bit of savoury element to it. What I've done with this dish as well is I'm just going to get some, I'll just have some ice cream to serve with this, but I'm just going to serve it to you today as a sponge and the sauce itself. Okay, guys? Okay, chef, so that is my sponges baked. They took 25 minutes exactly. They've risen slightly. This one's got a little bit of a peak. Got a very large skewer. To check that they're cooked, just insert your skewer and that should come out nice and clean and dry. Just going to turn it out. Just be careful, obviously these pots are hot. Okay, so it should come out, as you can see, nice, well moulded round shape. Let's take off the parchment from the bottom. really simple serving plate for this. Sponge in the middle, nice and warm. I'm just going to get my sauce. I've made the sauce, reheated it. Give that a stir up. Like I say, just add a little bit of salt. Yeah, and just pour that over. Then traditionally, you'd can serve that with clotted cream, ice cream, a little bit of vanilla custard, go down very well. The salt in the sauce just improves the flavour, adds more flavour, makes it a bit more intense as well. When you're doing these in the industry, or if you're going to do these yourselves at home, just top tip, store them in the sauce. So make your sauce, put them into a tray, line it with some parchment, pour the sauce over the top, and what that'll do is your sponge will soak up all that sauce, and hence the name sticky toffee. So it'll become even more sticky, more moist as well. Okay, just gonna grab a knife, cut into that, show you the centre as well. So just okay, that's that there cut into. What we're looking for is we don't want any bits of flour or lumps of sugar. You might have a couple little bits in just from your dates, that's fine, as long as they're not big chunky or any of the pips or seeds from the date. Make sure you get pitted dates, top tip. Nice sponge texture, well baked, good shape. Okay, nice open texture, nice and moist in the centre, and that's what you're looking for in a quality sticky toffee pudding. Okay guys, thank you for joining today, and I'll set your tasks after this. Bye now.